I mean, it's just like two different people. I can see the same person, but you get up there and it's a different story, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't recognize myself up there sometimes.
Really?
Or sometimes I don't recognize myself when I come off stage. It's, it's I don't know. Some people just go from being John Smith to John Smith with the lights on, and I go. And I'm not aware of this Jekyll and Hyde change, but it's
shadow play, right?
That's it. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if I was as crazy off stage as I was on stage, people would lock me up, or they wouldn't talk to me. But
what do you tell yourself? What goes through your mind? I mean, I should get out of here because you're going to be on stage pretty soon. But what's going to go on in your mind between now and then? You think about the music. You think about the blues, which you love, obviously. Is it the sound of that first strike of the guitar which just really gets it going? The people?
I don't know. We do it so often, and I still am as nervous as ever.
Really?
Oh God, I'm as nervous now as you can imagine. I don't know. It's a kind of the sound of the people, the expectation, I guess, the enjoyment of playing, the release of playing. Because playing for me is a big release of the day, more than airports or hotels or hanging around relaxing. It's I don't know, I can't break it down, but I just, when I hit the stage, I don't want to walk on looking like a three-piece suit. I want to kick it and get, cause a bit of a rumpus and play some music, and it's, I want to do it like I think it should be done, and have a bit of fun. That's and obviously, if I was just sitting in with somebody else, I'd probably be more laid back on stage. But if you're out front, I think you must get down there tooth and nail and hit it,
Yeah.
Because it's probably my own image of what I think I like rock to be or blues to be or whatever.
Are you optimistic about the future of rock at this point? You say things aren't too hot over here, but do you think it's going to... Are you worried about that?
I'm pretty optimistic about music in general, always. I don't think things go a little astray now and then. I get a bit worried about the control of the music business and music radio and that sort of thing. I get annoyed when the AM system is so tied up now. DJs aren't allowed to play the records they want. They're told to play the records that the public thinks they want.
Right.
And which means they want to hear Grease and Disco Fever 15 hours a day. I don't believe that's to be the case. This is the discrepancy that I don't want to rule the world either, but I think that radio's got to loosen up, and this business of we shall not play anything over 2 minutes to 30 seconds. And this kind of thing, no, this isn't healthy. I mean, there's no two ways about it. That's too much of Big Brother, and even FM has been affected by that.
Yeah.
And if everything's going to depend on advertisements and all that sort of thing, and I'm not hankering for the great days of the 60s, they weren't perfect either, but there was at least a movement towards a certain, loose me over in the media, let's experiment, let's fool around, let's find, push,
reach out.
Look into the library, let's not just play the first 20 records on the desk, that type of thing. And just when you think things are going crazy, like I said with the new wave thing, that even though it's something some bands just can't play full stop, a lot of them have proved that it's possible to change the big boys. They made the Stones drop the big scenery and get down and just use small amplifiers. You can play in clubs in Britain, for instance. All the clubs that I used to play in had turned into bingo halls and discotheques. But then all of a sudden all these young groups went in and started playing. And so that's a backlash against the big monopoly thing. But
there's hope.
I think there's always hope, because you see, human nature can be controlled, or the human pulse can be controlled, or worked on for a number of years or months, but then it snaps and something gives, and people just can't take certain spoon-fed stuff anymore. And even DJs will go crazy. You know what I mean? This is what happened. Like the guys hang themselves on the mic cord. But I mean, that sounds very, neurotic of me, but I can't help it. I mean, you're sitting in cars listening to AM and you wait for the hotel, and you listen to FM, and it's still pretty good. European radio is not the greatest either, but it's you see, we don't really have AM FM system now. We have like radios, state radio or independent stations, but they tend to pigeonhole music. That the rhythm and blues are, and the folk are, and then the cross. Any program that would play a mixture would tend to be more pop. So you don't. I mean, my idea of radio is to be sitting back and you hear a Doc Watson track, followed by a Muddy Waters track, followed by an Elvis Costello track, followed by
A Rory Gallagher track.
Yeah, and then if you like, followed by a pop hit. Why not? You know, I think that's childish of me to expect that.
Well, I don't know. I remember FM radio in the old days in Boston. I mean, old days, late '60s, and they'd put Bach next to Stones, or the Beatles next to some jazz piece, or they'd throw in a little swing and a little old blues, and you just never know what's coming. So you're much more alive, you're much more attentive. And I turn on the radio today, and it is just hammering away, overproduced.
Well, the record sound, can't you hear? You can hear the drums sucking in and out with over compression. You can hear guitars through about 10 fuzz boxes and still don't sound well. You can't create, like you listen to Hall and Wolf record from the Chess days. I defy anyone to put on a new record. It's supposed to sound heavier than that. It doesn't. They're just not using, I don't know, they're using sort of, more machines and more cogs, but less, I don't know what it is, just honest, grisly, raw music. That's some people can still make good records, obviously, but I don't mind technology, advancing things in the studio, but it seems for every advancement that comes along, it's immediately taken and used as a shortcut to do something shortcutting music that it shouldn't do. But, I don't know. I must be sounding very doomy today. I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh, that's okay. What just to end on what's really in the future for you? What's in the near future as far as recordings or touring? Or got any albums coming up? How's the writing going? You staying songs ready to go?
I've got a lot of skeletons lying around that need fleshed out. Good ideas for songs, and some songs that haven't been rehearsed or anything. The main plan after this 4-week tour, we go back and do throughout December and January a British tour and an Irish tour at Christmas, and then we do small Spanish and Portuguese tour, I think.
You ever played it before?
I played Spain before,
Okay.
2 times, great.
Huh.
And particularly now that everything is loosened up there. Other than that, the next year will be a lot of emphasis on America, because we've done a lot of Europe in the last while.
You're coming back.
Oh yeah, none of this 2-year thing. So as far as the next album, it depends on how well this one goes. We could do another one in January, February, or something like that, and have it out during the summer or early autumn or something. But we'll see what happens. But we'll be working over here now. We might even move over here temporarily.
Really? To New York?
I don't know. It's hard to know where. Either New York or Los Angeles or something. Just because it's defeating our hard work here. We did this our 13th tour or something. And if you go back, you see you're trying to get tied up again there, and the tours get delayed by a month coming back to the States. And when you leave the country here, you leave the memory, but you don't leave a certain pulse that has to be here, So if we treated LA or Boston or Chicago as our London and worked at it for 5 or 6 months or something, it might make things tick better. And it'd be fun, but we're not going to forsake Europe either.
Yeah, they'd miss you over there.
I love playing that. Some acts get snobbish about Europe. They think, well, just go and become big stars in America, which I would love to do. But I mean, I don't want to get too snobbish. It's not snobbish. It's just being loyal to the people who are loyal to you. And there's a great following there. It's great fun. And at least I think I'm at the point now where I could concentrate on America a bit more and not lose. You know, there's certain big acts here who can't go back to Europe and they can't draw anybody. And even though they're huge here, I would always like to be. That's not a security thing either. It's just, you know, I suppose when you crack first, you hang on to. But I would, my long-term ambition is to have a top 10 album in America. That would be neat.
It'll go. It's around the corner.
I hope so. And just that would be kind of proof enough for me. If proof is what I'm looking for, it's not.
Who knows? I mean, it's tough. Muddy Waters, like you know very well how long these guys wait to really get attention. I'm sure you don't want. I could, you know, I don't. I'm sure you don't want to get recognition when you're 70 like he is, but obviously you'd like it now. But,
oh well, I mean, on the other hand, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be doing a lot better than Muddy Waters is doing in terms of, you know, a living and filling certain theatres and so on. I'm not doing badly at all, but I think there is a slight discrepancy. A bigger following in America than would meet the eye, and it only meets the eye when there's a hit album. So, you know, when you see a hit album, you say, yeah, those guys can draw people in Atlanta, Houston, Toronto, Chicago, and this is basically what. But then again, I mean, what the hell? As long as you know, you have to be ambitious, but you have to. If the ambition overrides the fun of it, you're in trouble. Then. You know,
sounds logical. Well, Rory, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.